Hello, welcome to part 4 of our CM6007 Epoxy Training video. In this video, you've already learned how to build a cove, mix the product, and roll onto the wall. So now comes the final part, which is rolling the epoxy onto the floor. Here we start with our initial coat for the floor. Here, as seen with the wall, every time the roller gets dry, you must reapply epoxy before proceeding. Here you can see our applicator is just simply wetting out the roller for each length of the roll before applying more, and he makes sure that there's good saturation on the entire surface of the floor. This might require a couple passes in a couple different directions just to make sure that you get all of the crevices of your floor. Once all the epoxy has been applied, you just do a final rollover just to make sure all the textures are consistent. Depending on your spec, you do have to be checking your mills as you go so that you account for dry mills and make sure you have the appropriate thickness. Once the floor coat is applied, if you have a non-slip requirement for your floor, then your next step is to broadcast. Here we use number 30 silica sand and we broadcast to the point of rejection. It's about ½ pound for every square foot. Once that broadcast has set, usually overnight, you sweep it all up for the major sand, and then you use mechanical methods such as a vacuum or a blower to get what's left off of the surface. Once you have a properly cleaned floor, all that's left is the top broadcast, which has set inside of the epoxy. You encapsulate it with one more layer of epoxy over the whole floor surface. This will protect the broadcast from brushing off from footsteps or any other type of traffic, and we'll leave you with a finished floor as well. Here we encapsulate with another coat of epoxy, but depending on your spec, you might use a urethane or several coats of epoxy to finish the encapsulation. One thing to also note is that in the encapsulation step, you will use more material than during the initial application of the coat. So just make sure to account for about 20 to 30% or even more material on this step. One final step is to apply a coat onto your wall or cove surfaces to give everything a clean, finished appearance. Thank you for joining us in this training series. Make sure to reach out to your Coat Masters rep for any questions you might have on your next installation. Thank you and have a good day.